Welcome back everybody, my name is Stuart. Today we are looking at this Dolan gravel bike. The customer has supplied me with a frame and fork like this. Some wheels are actually ready to go, ready built. And then lots of GRX bits in boxes, so basically a full group set ready to go on this. That'll be a 1x system with hydraulic brakes, new bar tape, new levers, wheels, etc. Customer assures me he's given me everything I'm going to need, so we'll see about that. Let's go. So it should be a fairly straightforward build really. This is derailleur, bar tape, chain, pedals, bottom bracket, crankset, both shifters, say a 1x system. Set of wheels, cassette, rotors already on it, and tubeless tyres already set up as well, so the hard bits are done really, to be fair. So it took me a case of putting all this on and getting it set up. Even got a headset, fully assembled, bar stem, so like I say, I don't think this is going to take too long. Hopefully we can make a video out of it though. Let's go. First things first though, we do need to get this bottom bracket out. It's not compatible with the Shimano cranks he supplied. He has given me another Shimano press fit bottom bracket, so first of all we're going to pull this unit out. We use a BSC press fit bottom bracket puller, so basically this just hooks in behind the bearing and just pulls it out really. It's such a great tool. Put that behind the bearing, wind this on. It needs to go over that cup there. Can't use this cup, it's too small to go over the actual bottom bracket. So we need to use this nylon adapter to go over there. It clips onto the tool there, hook that behind the bottom bracket and screw the whole thing on. It should sit up against the frame then hopefully. And turn the tool. And that just comes straight out of there. This is just nylon, so it doesn't mar the frame at all. And that's it out. So that'll go back to the customer as a spare to add to his box of bits and pieces, I'm guessing. Nothing wrong with that. So before we put the new bottom bracket in, what I'll do is I'll run the rear brake hose through here and up towards the top tube. And we'll also run the rear derailleur cable down as well through this plastic guide that's on the bottom. So it's going to be a bit easier to get access to everything before we fully commit to the bottom bracket. This is the right hand lever, which is the rear derailleur, so it's got a gear cable already attached. This should be the rear caliper with the hose attached. So this is going to go on the frame obviously, and we'll pull this hose up towards the head tube. Should be plenty long enough. Get the caliper loosely bolted onto the frame first, then we can start threading this hose through. It makes a change in arm to clean everything first of all. Everything's clean, and I don't think it's a new frame. It's got a few marks in it on here. It might be from storage I guess, but I don't know how old this is, a couple of years old I'm guessing. Not a bad little frame really. Right, so there's two bolts here. One has a little safety clip hole for that one there, it's the back one. They just only need to be loosely mounted at the moment. Obviously we've got to align everything as well, but let's get them somewhere close and see if they're about the right length as well, hopefully. So this hose now needs to go through the frame, so there's a guide here. The first one we need to go through is this guide here. Probably just pull it off and thread it over the hose. So I've just slid that boot over the hose, so when we put that through there, it will clip back into place. It's only just a bit of rubber. So we'll thread the hose through there, come out the bottom bracket. That should just come out of the chainstay. Pretty easy. I'm just going to pull this through without kinking it now. Right, so that's the first bit in. We'll push this boot into where it needs to be. It can stay there now. What I'm going to do is pull this out, thread down a hose tool, grab the end of that and pull it back up. So the hose tool, I'm going to use this one here, which basically slides over the end of the hose. I've never used this one before, to be fair, so this is the first. Drop that down the frame to the bottom bracket. That's arrived down here. It's so easy without the bottom bracket in. Like that. And this literally just pushes onto the end of this hose. Quite a good fit actually. Like that. That's really got hold of that. And then we're going to pull that up. Dead easy. Right, I'm just going to pull that up from the head tube now. Once we get this piece through the frame, it'll be easy. So that's out of there now, no problem. So now I can just pull this through again without kinking it down the bottom bracket. Should be easier said than done. So we can obviously pull this tool off now, we're not going to need that again. The front one's got a connector on the hose, but I'm tempted to replace it with a one-piece hose. We'll see how it goes. Right, so that is the rear brake for the UK, which is going to sit to this side here. Right, I'm literally just going to take this out of the way now to save it just flapping around, because it's quite a rigid hose. It does get in the way. This is not the install, this is literally just to keep it out of the way and annoying me. I could use a cable tie I guess, but this is fine. Right, that's okay there. Casualty, grease on my microphone. Oh dear. Right, I swapped microphone just in case. So that's that basically in. So I'll put the shifter on here now, and then we can run the derailleur cable again through the bottom bracket, and then we can put the bottom bracket in. I'm just going to put this holder on it to stop these bars spinning around, because the handlebar will actually hit the top tube at the moment if you let it, which would be bad. So just lock that out of the way for now like that. Just need to take this out first because that's in the way. Get this shifter over this bar. In wireless DI2, you wouldn't even need to do this, but well, you'd still need to do the brakes, but not the gear cable. Right, so let's get that somewhere close. We'll tighten this bolt up in here. Just drop a 5mm. We'll use a T-handle on this one. Drop that straight through the side of the shifter. Tighten it somewhere close. I say we'll have a look when we've got some wheels on how it's sitting. Be a bit higher than that for a start, about there. We do need access to this to bleed the system anyway, so we can just leave this folded up at the top like that for now. Might as well throw the other lever on at the same time. Just loosely on for now. We do need to finally position them and make sure they're totally level with each other. That's basically there, so that hose will obviously connect into that lever there. So the derailleur cable is obviously going to go into the frame down here. There's a guide on the bottom bracket it will go through, and then out of the chainstay. So we'll just pop this out for now. Well, we don't need to pop this out actually. Just going to run a outer through this, cut it to length. So the shifter housing is going to go obviously from there to there via the bar. I don't really want to take this cable out to push that in there, so I'm not going to use this. I've got a flexible piece of plastic here I find quite useful for this. That's going to basically sit into there. Give us a rough idea. Up to the frame. It's not going to be far off there, so about that long. Then we need this one for the lever with its little slot. That slots into the lever onto the end of the housing. We'll thread the cable through there and see how it sits in. I've cut it a bit longer, obviously, just in case. You can always take it off. Just thread that through there and see how it looks at the frame. It'll hook into the lever. It's got a little slot that it lives into. That's into the lever. And I'll drop it down here first before we put an end cap on it, just to see how it's looking. Again, out the bottom bracket. Hook that into the frame. I'm just going to take this off temporarily because I need to just move the bar around to see how we're looking. Obviously this is going to be taped underneath the bar with the brake hose around about there. That will sit around about there. That's that. Can we turn the bar? Yes we can. That wasn't a bad guess, was it? So that looks pretty good there. So I'll pull this back out, put an end cap on there. Again, I'm just going to put some tape on here, keep it in the right place for a minute. This can probably stay here, but I haven't decided what I'm doing with this front brake hose yet. So that's fundamentally where that gear cable is going to sit. I'm just going to pull this back out again now. Right, so let's pull this back out and put an end cap on here. We've got one provided with a tail on it, see if that will go through. Sometimes they do. Yeah, that'll be fine. Good. And that will sit in there, perfect. Almost forgot to put this on the front brake hose. I'll just put that on there. This plastic guide here is basically just for the derailleur cable. Hoping I can just push this through, it should just pop out. So a bit of a good fit these are, like that. Bit of grit under here, it looks like it has been used before actually. Yeah, definitely been used before, it's got some grit in here. Let's give it a clean while we're here. So then this is the top of the chainstay where that cable's going to come out eventually. So we'll pull this plastic piece out and hopefully I can just thread that cable up there. Out of there like that, it just pops out. Thread the cable up there, chainstay, and I should be able to just grab it out without too much difficulty. Just going to go in there. Straight through the other side of it. These are Teflon coated Shimano cables that come with a lever. They're pretty good until the Teflon starts wearing off and then they're not so good. Just going to thread this up the chainstay and hopefully I'll be able to grab it at the other end without too much difficulty. If you can see that, but the cables just come through there. I'll just grab a pick and pull that through. Picks with a bent end on it coming quite nice for this. Like that. Through. Just clip this back in the frame now, keep the cable tight, otherwise you end up kinking it when you put this in. I hate these things, honestly. Well, that's actually gone in quite nicely. So that's through the bottom bracket as well. So I can refit this now. Just clips in. So we can't do much with this yet until we fit the derailleur on. So I'm just going to put a loop in it and stop it falling out. So we'll leave that like that, looped up, until we put the derailleur on, and come back to that shortly. Yeah, some big marks up here. Definitely been used before. It's very clean. All right, now we can put the bottom bracket in. Just clean this off first. It's got a few marks. No front derailleur. We are on a 1x system. I don't know if the customer wants me to leave this on, but it's always a bit dodgy undoing these. The riv nuts in the frame could potentially come loose, so I'll be tempted to leave it as it is. Yeah, they've not supplied me with any bungs to go with it, but I'll check with the customer. Right, so there's no sign of the brake hose down here now, so it's definitely clearing the top of the bottom bracket by a mile. I can barely even feel it. And the gear cable tucked under in this plastic guide, so we've got a hollow bottom bracket. Customer supplied the Shimano press fit 86.5, so we'll just check that's the right one. Correct. So it's a plastic bottom bracket into a carbon shell. I don't normally put any paste on it when it's plastic. If it's an aluminium bottom bracket, then I tend to Loctite them in, but plastic just pushes in. So this BSC tool is awesome. I really should speak to BSC. They should be paying me for this. Every video I'm shouting out how great their kit is. Never mind. Maybe one day. So I've already got one sponsor at the moment. I can't get greedy, can I? Right, I'm literally just going to push that in now. Look how easy this is. Such a great tool. All fine noises, don't worry. I'll say it, we're done. Incredible. I don't know why people are so scared of press fit bottom brackets. Get the right kit, they're super easy. Yeah, they can get a bit creaky and clicky sometimes, but generally speaking, they're not bad. That's in, beautiful. Shiny new crank can go on next. Get a bit of grease on this first. Which we'll just slide in. There's grease already in the cups in the bottom bracket, to be fair. I mean, obviously there's grease in the bearings, but there's also grease on the external of the cups. So that's not entirely essential, but almost there. And left-hand crank as well. Fit the preload cap. I don't think this bike's going to take very long to build. But obviously we've got to bleed the brakes. That'll take a bit more time. It should go together pretty quickly. Drop down your safety clip. Like that, and tighten these up. 170s before you wonder. I think we'll put the derailleur on next so we can finish off the cabling. Undo this now because we're not upside down. Brand new GRX. Let's get it on. Bit of grease on the bolt. Make sure it sits on its stop there. And give it a little bit of pressure while you tighten it up, otherwise it can wind itself around. Drop out feels a bit loose. Tighten that up in there. Drop out's a bit on the loose side. Let's get this tightened up. T8. Yeah, T8. Right, I'm just going to put this through axle through to stop it falling off. Put some fresh Loctite on that. I have ordered some of the Loctite that comes as a stick. Not arrived yet. Coming today at some point, but it's missed this video. It'll get on one, don't worry. Loctite 248. Right, it's only a TA, so it gives you a clue. It doesn't need to be crazy tight. It's never going to fall out because the axle's holding it in, but it does need to be fairly tight. Yeah, they don't need to be very tight. Loctite on the axle are holding this in as well. Okay. Let's get rid of that play. Because it's a shadow derailleur, they give you the flexible RS900 cable, which is this stuff here. It's really, really good. Super flexible, and I find it gives you fantastic shifts as well. It really does. Right, let's just thread this through. It might be a bit long, but you can trim it. Get it in there, get it in there. To be fair, it's not going to be a million miles away. I think we'll leave it at that for now. What I do next is I'll put the wheel in, set these high-low limits, and then connect this cable up. Nicely greased as well. Right, I need to take this out first because we've already got a rotor on the wheel. I had to take that caliper off to get the wheel on because this ain't going to fit on there. Look, there's a 160 rotor. It's not going to fit there without some sort of spacer there. So this is what happens when you say you've got all the bits. There's always one little bit. So I suspect we're going to need a flat mount adapter to a 160 rotor for the back. Joys, never mind. We can still set these limit screws. So all we're doing here basically is making sure this lower pulley wheel is level with this one. And we can push it over by hand and make sure we're level with that one. And that's all we're going to do on that. Right, so I'm struggling to do this with the camera in the way, to be perfectly honest, but basically this is the high limit here. I've bent this does, but I'm just backing this high limit off because it's nowhere near yet. It's going to be somewhere close, and the low limit needs a bit more. So just pull this over now to the low, and that lines up perfectly with that sprocket. I can't get the camera angle in there, sorry, but that's not going to be far off there. So the cable's going to go in here where you see that slot, and nip that up like so. You appreciate how difficult this is with a massive camera and tripod in the way. Right, there you go. That's nipped up. Let's just move that, move in a fraction. We have got a barrel adjuster available, obviously, so any slack we can take that out. But we need a chain and whatnot first. I'll cut that off. Turns out I actually did have an adapter, so let's get this on and get it aligned. Camera's totally in the way. So that's on now, and I'm just going to align this caliper while we're here. Somewhere about there, sounds good. So I don't think this rotor's new, it's actually rubbing still slightly. One spot. There. So I'm going to bend that over a fraction. Okay, that's pretty good. Right, pain in the arse that was. Wheel's got to come out again anyway to bleed the brakes anyway, but for now, what should we do next? Let's put the chain on next. Two little safety clips I just need to put into the post mount adapter first. So we don't have an old chain obviously to copy, so we do need to measure this one. So we're going to go over big. This cassette's used as well, isn't it? Interesting. Chain's fake. I think this chain's fake. That's not good. But I'm pretty sure this chain is a fake one. I'll just check the box in a minute. It don't fit very well. It don't fit at all. Right, so this chain is almost certainly fake. There's no tick on this box. There should be a little blue pen tick. I'll show you a genuine Shimano one. So this one is one from Madison, the Shimano dealer in the UK. You'll see a little blue pen tick there, and you also see some big differences in the font. I have done a video about this before. This box is super shiny, it's a matte finish. I'll say the tick is the big giveaway, and the fact it doesn't even fit on the chainring. It's also quite a big clue. If you turn it over, you'll see that the genuine Shimano one has a sticker on this box. This is just a printed barcode on the box. The font on the Shimano is different as well. It's totally fake, so we can't use that. We'll be putting my chain on. Number of suspicions, it won't go around here. Well, that shouldn't, it won't even fit in here, look. That should just drop into that sprocket there, it won't fit. It will, but it shouldn't be that tight. It's terrible. Right, this is going off, and I'm putting one of mine on. Also, this quick link is in a little sealed bag. This is the genuine Shimano one in a vacuum sealed bag. This is fake. Always buy your chains from a reputable shop. If you get them from Amazon, be careful. If it's sold from Amazon, you might be okay. If it's sold from a third-party seller on Amazon, probably not so okay. eBay, especially bad, flooded with fakes. AliExpress, 100% guaranteed to be a fake chain. Get them from a proper shop and you should be okay. And we'll take it off this one here, and the quick link should make that right. Always go too long, you can always take another one out. I've told the customer, he's not replied yet, but I know what his question will be. Are you sure? Never been more certain. A narrow wide chain ring, so that it's got a wider bit here for the wider part of the chain, unsurprisingly. We'll connect that on and see how we look. So I'm going to use the fake chain link just to show you. I bet you this goes on so easily. compared to a proper Shimano one, which is extremely tight. I bet you could probably do this with your stupid smacking the pedal trick, but we're not going to do that either. I'm just going to show you. I bet this clips in super easy, which is another clue you got a fake Shimano chain. Can't pull it, but I bet it don't take much. Hook that in there like that. That was so easy. Wait till you see a proper one. This is a genuine Shimano one. Again, clip that in roughly where it should be, and watch me struggle. Right. I'm not even exaggerating it. Oh, Jesus. That's how tight it should be. That's how we go with these gears. I ain't got a pedal. I put a dummy pedal on. I've not fitted the pedals yet, so we'll use the workshop dummy pedal. We'll quick go with these gears. We may as well while we're down here. Almost. One flick. That's up there. Down, up. Look at that, straight out of the box. No, I don't want to go up there, does it? Definitely don't want to go up there. We need a bit more B tension on there, I think. Like quite a lot more. No brakes either. I'm going to screw this in now. Get some more clearance because we've got a pretty big sprocket to get up to. I'm not sure what size it is, 40, 50 something, I don't know. Try it again. Not bad. Not too much of a gap now. We should have 6mm between sort of here and here. We've got about 10 there, so I'll just back that B screw off a bit. Close that down to about there. Let's go again. Right, it sort of works. What we need to do first though is just press this gear lever. I'm just pressing this all the way across now without pedalling. What we're doing here is seating all these plastic caps that we put onto the outer housing. Press it quite far. Doesn't snap or anything, but you do need to go quite far. And then we'll go for the indexing again one more. See how it's took so much slack out now, it won't go up there. So you've got a barrel adjuster. It went out of barrel adjuster there now, look, that's fell out. So we need to put that back in, pull the cable through manually, and then start again. When people say derailleur cables stretch, they don't really stretch. What's happening is these plastic cases have bedded in, and then your index has gone out. I always used to think it was a cable stretching, but think about it, it's extremely difficult to stretch one of these cables by even a 1/10 of a millimetre, I'm guessing. But it's very easy to relocate these plastic bits onto a plastic housing. Right, I'm going to screw that all the way back in pretty much. Out a couple of turns, and then we're going to pull this back through, and we should be about right. Pull this quite tight now because we know we're seated on the housings. Super critical you do that. It'll work on the day, but as soon as you ride that for a bit, it'll just go out of index. Try it again. It's not going up to its top gear. Guess he wasn't in 11th on the lever. Dickhead. Do it again because I wasn't in 11th gear on the gear lever. Oops. I'm going to give it a tiny bit on the low screw because it just feels a bit tight getting up there. Like that, tiny bit. That's better. Oh, that's better. We've got a clutch on this, so we can try it with the clutch on as well. Very noisy on this cassette. Right. I'm going to find out the history of this cassette. I remember the customer did mention something about it when he came in, but it don't sound quite right. That don't. Right, when we get the wheel off to bleed the brakes, I'm going to inspect this cassette because it's pretty noisy on when you're using the clutch. It doesn't sound quite right. We've got a new chain. I'll say I don't know the history of this cassette. It could have 5,000 miles on it, so we might end up with a new cassette, or the customer might end up with a new cassette. Right, okay. So I've just spoke to the customer and he's confirmed he got this chain from eBay, so there you go, guys. Watch out. Get them from a shop, not from eBay. I'm just going to add this front caliper now. It's pretty easy. Hose will just thread into the fork and come out the top, hopefully. Straight out the top. Dead easy, that one. Pull that through and get this bolted to the fork again. If you're doing this at home and you didn't realise fake change was such a problem, you'd been carrying on with that, trying to get these gears right, and you'd have been there forever, honestly. Because it just clearly didn't even fit, let alone look convincing on the packaging. Such a bad fake. You'd have been there for days, trying everything. That's why sometimes it's cheaper to take it to a bike shop, because, like you say, it took me about 30 seconds to work out that was a fake chain and get it sorted with a proper one straight away. I've just asked the customer to confirm what the history of that cassette is, because I'm not very happy with it. It's not shifting particularly well. Right, that's on. I'll leave it loose for now. I'll say we've got to centre it anyway. They're giving us one of their couplings on this hose, which we can use, but where they've put the barb is going to make it very long, like that. So it's going to be a bit too long for that. So we'll trim a bit off and put a new barb in there. And connect that down there like that somewhere, and that should be okay. So I'll just trim that about there. That shouldn't be far off, so I'll just put a new barb in here, then we can connect it to this. This guy's just dropped this e-bike off in a box. Oh my god, it's the heaviest thing you've ever lifted. He assures me it's street legal. I'll have a look later. I'll pull this out. It is full of fluid at the moment, but I do need to get in there to get the olive out. I'm going to give you a boot just to cover that once it's on. So I'm just going to drop this nut over the hose. Put that in there, the olive's already in there, I can see it, and get this hose started. Like that. I'm not entirely sure why they have added a coupling into this. If anybody wants to enlighten me, please feel free. And I think pretty much what we've got to do now is bleed these brakes, obviously, although they look sort of semi-pre-bled. Put the front wheel in, wrap the bars, not far off them. Didn't think it'd take that long. I haven't seen what bar tape he's got yet. The box looks a bit funky. Alright, just slide the boot on and that is done. Good. I've just moved that e-bike thing in a box. Oh my god, it's the heaviest thing in the world. I dread to think what's in there. Anyway, let's finish this. Right, let's cut this brake hose. Make sure you give yourself enough to go around the corner. About there's going to be good. Scientific this. There is fluid in this hose, so I don't think it's going to be too much of a problem to bleed. So easy. Again, I'm presuming the olive is living inside this lever. Full of fluid, good. And we'll just press that in. Yeah, I can see the olive in there, so we'll just press that in there. That's located. Tighten this up. Trying an experiment. Some people have said if you clamp this hose in here and hold the tool while you're tightening this up, it doesn't twist the hose. We shall see. Can't fit that on there. I mean, you put grease on here as well to help that, but to be honest, it never ever does anything. It just twists like crazy. Staying pretty straight at the moment. Oh, tight. Take this off then. So there's no gear cable on this, it's just a 1x, so we just need to take this out of the way for now. Well, they can go for its final tape now. There's a bit of a groove under this bar, not much there. The hose is plenty long enough so we can go the full 90 around there, hitting the bar gently obviously, and this hose is still okay lengthwise, so that's fine. Super critical you get that bit right. Alright, so both brakes are now connected, so we can actually bleed them now. Just going to pull these pads out first obviously, so we need to get a bleed block in there. Still got a flathead screw in here. I thought they'd all gone to Allen keys by now, but apparently not. Obviously it's brand new, so it's not seized, so we'll get some anti-seize on there. Pads out, bleed block in, cap out, O-rings there, put your bleed cup, syringe full of mineral oil, Shimano, and then just pull this boot off here. It's brand new, obviously, so it's still actually here in one piece. Take that off. Press your syringe on there. This is a Shimano hose, so it fits so nicely. Loosen the bleed port off half a turn or so. Take that off, and then you can turn the hose. It'll actually turn it for you until your hose is upright like this. And we just press your syringe. Shouldn't be too much, I don't think. I'll just flick this lever a few times. Staying in focus, that'll be good. Not too much at all, really. Right, I'll just lock that port off. And then it's just a case of getting this bike down to as many different angles as you can. Get it all the way down. Squeezing your lever. Oh, it feels super firm already. All the way down, get it level, get it all the way up without fluid pissing out. Bleed it up there as well. Just to go through the range of motion. Just get every little last bubble out of the lever. That feels super firm though as it is, so that's great. Take this off now and put that cup, put the cover back in. Tight. And just mop any fluid up. So any mineral oil is not DOT, it's not going to melt anything. Drop this cover back on, make sure these things go into its correct holes, all these little ones, they all line up with other bits. So just peel it down like this, and it should drop into where it wants to. And pull it back tight when you're finished wrapping the bars up. Like that. Pull that back. That's on. Good. So just take this back wheel out now, bleed the rear brake, and put it back together, wrap the bars, put some pedals on, and we're about done. And just take this out, put the pads back in. There's a tiny dab of grease on these threads here, grease or anti-seize, whatever. Just a little drop. Like that. See, the black ones don't tend to seize, it's the silver ones on Ultegra, but just in case. And put this little clip on here. Like that. And that's in now with a safety clip, so I'll just put this front wheel in now. Tighten this up. There's grease on the through axle. And that's there. Right. How's this brake feel then? Just going to pump the lever a few times to get the pads seated in. Feels good. Not quite centred yet. Okay. A little bit of centering work. I'm not going to bore you on camera with it because it's impossible to film and make it look exciting. So give me a minute, I'll sort this out. That didn't take long actually, that played ball straight away, so we're good there. So just before I wrap up these bars, I just want to take a minute to thank this channel's sponsor, sportandleisure.com. Sport and Leisure are a UK-based cycling retailer with thousands of parts, tools, clothing and accessories ready to ship. Their listings are clear with proper descriptions and really good pictures, which you'll definitely appreciate. If you've used some of the sites I have to use, oh dear. So if things are listed as in stock, then they genuinely are in stock and ready to ship the same day. If you order before 3 PM, it'll ship that same day with free delivery on all orders in the UK. If you do need it faster than that, next day delivery is only £2.50, again in the UK. So whether you're fitting a new group set, wrapping your bars, or just topping up on workshop spares, then please check them out. The prices are pretty hard to beat, believe you me. They've also given me a discount code for viewers, so if you use the code BCR10 at checkout on your first order, you'll get an additional 10% off the already fantastic prices. So the link's in the description below. Thanks again to sportandleisure.com for supporting the channel. Now let's get back to wrapping up these bars. So I'm just going to check this hanger's actually straight. It was loose and there's some damage around this part of the frame, so we'll check it straight while we're here. Just not shifting as well as I would like it to. It is without clutch, it's shifting pretty nicely, but as soon as you put the clutch on, it's not happy. Obviously it's a brand new derailleur, so we don't need to mess around with clutch tensions, etc. Let's just check this is straight. It doesn't look straight to me actually, looking at it from here. I think this is bent. What's there? Let's drop this down here. Back to the valve, so you got a reference point. This is definitely bent. Jesus, they've been miles out. Jesus, that is absolutely miles out. That one there should be there. You're allowed 3mm, that's nearly 2 inches out. Holy shit, that's massively bent. I wonder it weren't working very well. Let's see if we can straighten that up. I suspect we might need a new hanger on this, because that's a massive difference. Just check the front. That's what it should look like, virtually nothing. Go back to the top and make sure that's the same. Nope. Back down to here. So as long as your wheel's straight, you don't need to mess around with lining up the valve. I know this wheel is super straight. I should have checked that early to be perfectly fair. But it didn't look too bad. It just shows you, it can be deceptive the way they're mounted onto the frame, the angles and all sorts. It catches you out. Well, that's a lot better than where we were. That's a couple of millimeters now. Let's check it side to side as well. It's pretty much bang on there. Right, I'll put that derailleur back on and see what we get now. That's absolutely miles out. Oh. I think we're going to order a new hanger for this. See if they can get the gears to work nicely, which I think they will now. But I think we're going to get a new hanger because that's, it doesn't look right now. And obviously bending aluminium is never ideal, so let's prove a point, make sure it shifts, and then we'll get a new hanger ordered, which is 2 seconds to swap over. Let's try that again now. These limit screws will probably be out now though, because I've moved it so much. Maybe not too bad. Go with clutch off first. Right, I won't go up to that top one now. Pressing that lever is nowhere near it. The brakes now, don't we? I forget. Bed these pads in. Right, I've got brakes now as well. A couple of turns on that and go very slowly. Still won't go up. A couple more. We're up now. It's going up there. If I'm going to push it now physically, see if this will catch his spokes. It shouldn't do anywhere near it now. No chance that's going anywhere near there. Right, we'll go down now. Much better. Clutch on, see what happens now. Need a bit more tension. Right, much better. Okay, get a new hanger ordered. I know the customer's assembled all this, but let's just check it's all tightened up. Looks pretty good. Yeah. All good here. Right, I'm going to wrap these bars now. I've just had a bit of a catastrophe where I realised my microphone stopped working for about 10 minutes. I think I've fixed most of the file, but if you notice a few bits before this, then I apologise. But you won't believe how many batteries you go through doing this. It's incredible. So I'm going to get these levers level first before we wrap the bars. This one's not even tight yet. I don't think the other one's particularly tight. No, it's not. We're going to use a little gadget just to screw in here to try and get them level. Just take this out. You can fit this. Screw this into here. Probably seen these on Instagram and all that, but they're actually fairly useful. Then we just screw your derailleur hanger alignment gauge into here, like so, and then you can check the position of this lever hood in relation to the other one. I'm pretty much maxed out there now. I need to move this lever up a bit because that's too low for that. Basically get that level with the middle of that one there. set the band to there, spin it around to the other one, and you can see we're absolutely nowhere near. That needs to be touching that, so this lever obviously needs to come up quite considerably. That's not bad at all there. And then it's just a matter of making sure you're in line. You can do it by eye, of course you can, but this is quite useful. It's back in now, there's a bit of grease there, we'll borrow that for this thread. Doesn't matter how tight you do this because the preload is already set on the headset, remember? This doesn't do anything now. Literally nothing, unless you loosen these off first, then it will do something. Right, that is level and that is level. Right, they're good, they're not moving in normal use. So I've already put some tape around these now to its final position, so we just need to wrap these bars now. I mean, it's a jazzy box. I was getting all excited, but unfortunately it's just plain black tape. I thought it was going to be some sort of fade, but it's just black. So for these, if it's just some cheap no-name stuff, I think from probably AliExpress or similar, so I'm just going to be a bit careful how much stretch I put onto it. I don't want to rip it. Alright, let's get it started then. It's a strange material this is. I think it should look quite nice. Just make sure you left enough in the end to tuck in. And get this wrapped up. Plenty long enough. Leave it there for a minute, fold these back and see how we're looking. Alright, not too shoddy. Just got to get that plug in there, tape this up. Pirates. I need 6 pairs of hands to fold everything in first. Oh, that's not too bad. That's level. Tighten it up. Alright, that's on. Trim this top end and we'll do the other side. I don't know why, I'll still mark it up with a pen. I like to do it. Just saves confusion and cutting it wrong and then just making a mess. That should be about right there. It is just amazing though that all these handlebar wrap critics that tell you how to do it, none of them have got their own website and none of them you could like subscribe to and learn how to do it properly, but you know, but they're more than happy to jump on and tell everybody else they're doing it wrong. Anyway, it's impossible to please everybody, isn't it? Talking about subscribing, you know what I'm going to say. Just press it. Thanks. I've given up asking now because it doesn't matter how many times you ask or whatever you say, people just don't care. And I'll be perfectly honest, there's so many channels I watch on a regular basis, I'm still not subscribed to either. Unfortunately, it does make quite a big difference. Those numbers really count. Alright, that's on. I'll give you a finishing tape, we'll try it. I guarantee it's fell off by the morning. It's got a slight cloth effect to it, it's actually quite nice if it stays on. But it won't. I'm not convinced that's going to stay on. And it creases up, it's just rubbish, honestly. Alright, both sides are done. These cables look really nice actually, it's good length. Just going to lube this chain up now, just putting some finish line wet on there. I know the guy's going to use it for gravel, cyclocross. And I think a wet lube is better for that. Right, so I've ordered a new hanger, £35 delivered for this one, it's quite an expensive one. So I'm just going to hang on to the bike until that arrives, change that off camera, it's a 2-minute job. Right, so the hanger's actually arrived while I've still got the bike, so I'll just add this little bit at the end of the video. Dead easy job. The hardest bit really is ordering the correct hanger, so I'm hoping this is the right one. It was listed specifically for this Dolan Sporco frame, and it looks about right here. So let's take the wheel out, take this off, and get it bolted on. Anyone can do this. Just drop it down to your smallest sprocket. Take the wheel out. Take the derailleur off the existing hanger. A very expensive hanger, this was £35 posted, but last quick delivery from Dolan, UK, so that's good. This is the one I Loctited in, so you'll see how untight blue Loctite isn't. Comes straight out with the tool, no problem. It's just really for stopping it to vibrating loose. And that's that. And this should just come out now. There's one bit. I'll take the other bit, it comes with a new one, so let's compare that to the new one. Hopefully it's the same. Yeah, exactly the same. They have changed the bolt now, they're giving you an Allen key bolt, but but the actual hanger is exactly the same, so that will just drop straight into the frame. It's nice and clean in there anyway, that's good. Just drop this in the back. Can only go one way. And this one in the front. Like that, and then we'll just get the bolt through there. So the change is to a 2.5mm bolt instead of the 88 Torx, and there's no Loctite on there, so I'm just going to add a drop. Ooh, so the new Loctite stick arrived, so I can actually use this. Well, that was easy, wasn't it? Nice and clean, actually. Right, we'll just screw this in. I think this is being collected today. So just put the derailleur back on there. Like I say, literally anybody can do this. The hardest bit is buying the correct one, because there's over 400 different types of dropouts. Ridiculous. Okay, bye. On the prowl again, more mice. And then we just drop the wheel back in. We're done. Run through the gears again. They should be as they were, but even maybe 5% better, because it's perfectly straight now. Whereas before it was about 95%. Right, there we go for the gears. Perfect. Job done, ready for collection. Another one wrapped up then. Hope you enjoyed that. Like I say, I didn't take that long, really. I don't know how long this video is going to be, but in reality it took me all day to film, but it always does. A few bits and pieces on there. That fake chain would have caught a few people out, I think, but luckily we caught that. I showed you how easy it is to go down a rabbit hole and start looking at the wrong thing. I was sort of semi-suspicious that chain and cassette weren't compatible, but it turns out they were. And the issue is actually a bent derailleur hanger. I should have caught that way earlier than that, to be fair, but I did it on purpose so you could see what happens if you go down the rabbit hole, honestly. Anyway, we got there in the end and it's shifting lovely, so I hope you did enjoy that. Stay tuned, as ever, there's so much more to come, and enjoy the rest of your day or evening, wherever you are. Thank you.